Hello, class. This is just a little quick run through for the syllabus. And actually, I just revised this, so let me update that. All right, first things first. This is Computer Programming 1. Now, in this class, we're going to be primarily using Python. Now, this class was formerly Java. So I actually will have my old Java programs alongside the Python programs. So whenever you click on an assignment, the first thing you'll see is the Python program, which is what we're going to be learning. But if you're interested in seeing how that would work in another language, I'll also have some of my Java versions of those programs posted as well. Now, those aren't going to be tested over, but you can go through them if you want. But primarily, you're going to want to go through all the Python stuff. Now, what you're going to learn here is basically just introductory programming. If you've done some programming before, eh, it's not too different. I mean, most programming is pretty much the same. It's just different languages. If you've never done it before, well, that's fine. You're still going to learn everything from scratch. So scroll down the little list here. You'll have some lectures, which lectures, discussions, effectively those will be videos. Now, if you're in person, obviously I will, of course, give you that in person, those lectures. If you're not in person, then there will be a video of that same lecture on Canvas. So if you happen to miss a class, or if you're online, you'll find that lecture on Canvas under modules. And they're split up by week. So now, you'll also have assignments, generally at least one or so every week. They can be anything from a programming assignment to going through and copying something in the book. The book has different programs, and I will have you go through and basically copy the code for certain places into a program, run them, and then you would submit that program so I can make sure that you've actually gone in and kind of practiced that. Now, and we'll have at least one thing every week. Generally speaking, the whole split, as you can see over here, is 35% of the grade will be programs, 45% will be tests, and then, of course, you'll have your 20% set for the final exam. Now, there is a book. It is under currently course materials. You'll find it right there. And if you click on that, it should load up and you should see the Python book currently. Whenever I tell you to go to a certain page, there's a little legend for you to click on and go to that page. The grading scale, pretty normal grading scale. In fact, if I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that right here. Just your normal 10-point grading scale. Now, attendance, if you're in person, we would normally have, 3 meetings per week. Now, you may physically only meet for 2 meetings, but there are considered 3. Now, if you're online, now it depends on the term. A normal online course, we meet technically once a week. So you get basically 3 absences. If it's a summer term, then you get 2 absences. And keep in mind, every week in a summer term is basically, if it's an 8-week course, 2 weeks every week. If it's one of those compressed courses, then basically you're doing a whole month's worth every week. So you can do the whole 16. Normal semester is just, your basic 1 week every week. Now also keep in mind that holidays and things like that, you don't generally get those online. So even if there's a holiday, you're still going to be expected to do work. So, Thanksgiving, spring break, 4th of July, whatever it happens to be, you are still going to get stuff posted. Now, once you, as far as absences go, there are official absences. Of course, if you're in person and you're playing basketball or football or soccer or something for our campus, for Northwest, then essentially, that would be excused if it's a Northwest event. If it is not a Northwest event, then no, it's not excused. I've had plenty of people come in and hand me a doctor's note. Oh, I had to go to the doctor, you know, Monday. That's not excused. Uh, you get X number of absences depending on, the semester. You don't get them excused unless they're official absences. You get those absences for those doctor's appointments. Or I've had people have to go to court or something like that. Well, if you have to go to court because you were speeding, well, that's kind of your fault. Now, if it was jury duty or, National Guard training or something like that, military training type stuff, then that would technically fall under the, official absence policy. Anything else, you just use one of your absences. Now, if you're online, then you get this many absences. Effectively, the way online works is you have to turn in at least one program every week. If you're physical, then of course you come physically for 2 of those days. And the third day is effectively, there's going to be at least one assignment every week. You turn in that one assignment for that third attendance. Uh, so depending on which mode you're taking, that's what you're going to have to focus on. Make sure you're physically there and make sure you turn in the project. If you're online, make sure you turn in something every week. Otherwise, you get an absence. If you go a week without turning anything in, you get one absence, whatever that happens to be. Uh, Once you hit the max, if you go one more over, you're booted from the class. You're no longer in there. So make sure you always turn something in. I've had people, particularly in my physical classes, who, oh, they forgot to do the program or they didn't finish. Submit something, anything, even if you don't finish. If you submit something, well, I look through it, and if you at least did a certain percentage of it, you'll get some points. If you turn in nothing, all I can do is give you a 0 and an absence. So always turn something in. Now, plagiarism and cheating. This is a big one here, particularly with the advent of different, language models, large language models, AI otherwise. Uh, Now, in this class, you're going to learn how to program. And what I want you to do is when we're building those programs is I want you to build them. Now, certainly you can go to Google and ChatGPT and all these different AI engines and say, hey, make a program that does X, Y, Z. And it might be able to do that, but it's not taking this class. I actually currently have basically an AI version of almost every program from different AI engines. So I will probably know if you have cheated on that. And here's the problem with that. One, you're not doing it. Two, when you do the test, you can't use those. And when you take the test, if you did not do all the work, you will fail it. Because I'm going to ask you to write code and say what this code is doing. And if you didn't do any of that work, then you're not going to be able to pass that. And if you remember, 35% of our class is going to be tests. Another 20% is going to be final exams. So 55% of the class is going to be you having to answer questions about programs and stuff that you should have already built. And if you didn't build any of them, that's going to be pretty difficult. So one, make absolutely sure you are building these programs. Uh, Again, if you turn something in, I've seen enough AI programs to know whether you did this or not. AI thinks a certain way, and I teach a certain way. And if there is a vast difference between how I showed you how to do something and how you did it, that kind of leads some questions. And there are ways to search and check to see if like an actual person wrote it or not. So make absolutely sure you do your own work is effectively what that means. And it's also it's a little less of an issue now, but having other people write the code for you. I've had that happen in class where someone is struggling and someone comes over there, here, let me show you how to do that, and they start typing it out. No, you need to do the work. I don't mind if you ask somebody questions and they answer, oh, I did something similar to this. But as soon as you start copying and pasting code and letting someone else do the work for you, that's a problem. If you get caught, it's a 0 for that project the first time. If it happens another time, then as you can kind of see here, uh, well, you're not in class anymore. You get an F and you're booted. So uh, do not cheat in the class. If you do and I don't happen to catch it, you're still not going to pass the tests, most likely. So, you're shooting yourself in the foot, so to speak, if you don't do the work yourself. Now, if there's any questions about any of that, just feel free to ask me and I will be sure to clarify anything. AI is a interesting and wonderful tool that's probably going to be just part of daily life, fortunately and unfortunately. But it's not part of this class. This class is you learning how to write that code, not using a tool to do it for you. Statement of authority, if anyone has any major issues, they can be, of course, like if it's physical class, escorted out or referred to authorities. I've never had any major issues, so hopefully that continues. If you have any disabilities or anything like that, I usually get mails about that, usually at the beginning of the semester or whenever the paperwork is filled out. And that gives you things like extra time for tests and other advantages if you have any disabilities or anything like that. We have a whole department that you can talk to. You do have to get the paperwork filled out for that though. Uh, Safety statements, if you're physically in person, I would typically explain this, but fires, we have fire alarms and ways to get out of the glass. Uh, Earthquakes, we're all doomed if there happens to be an earthquake, no matter where you are. Hopefully, we don't have one. We are kind of long overdue. If there's a shooting or something, well, obviously we don't want to go running into the gunfire. We have protocols and stuff to deal with that as well. Uh, Basically, wait in the room and let the police deal with the work. Of course, if you're online, all that is basically, you know, moot, I guess, since you're in your own house, probably doing your work. Now, and I think that's all of the safety statements there. So I am Scott Mounger, which I probably should have led with, but I'm the instructor for this course. My office is the DeSoto Center, room 220. And my phone number, which I keep forgetting to correct, is 6129. So if you called like Northwest main office and they ask for an extension, that's my extension. Although the easiest way to get in touch with me is generally going to be through my email or through Canvas inbox. Message me like that, and I will generally respond fairly instantly. Uh, so if you ever need to get in touch with me, email or inbox are probably the easiest way. If you call my office, well, if it's normal semester, I'll have my schedule posted. Uh, I'm usually there Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If it's like a summer term or something, again, depends. Uh, this summer, for example, I'm giving a class. I plan to be there, an hour or two on Wednesday and an hour or two on Friday for anyone who has any questions or anything like that. Uh, but I'll clarify specifically, like in messages when like the semester starts, or in class if you happen to be in person. So, and of course we've already talked about the grading policy. Now you will need a computer for this, uh, preferably, a PC or a Mac will be fine. The software we're using for this, the one I have in modules, is PC version, but you can Google type in, idle Mac and probably download the same thing, as long as you have at least something that's not 100 years old. If you have I suppose, one of those Chromebooks or something like that, you'll have to find an alternative. There are some programs you can use that still kind of work, and I can help work with most anything if you need it. There are ways to get some programs running, like on tablets and stuff, if you absolutely had to, but you really need a keyboard and preferably a screen to work on your projects. A flash drive would be useful if you have one of those. If you have a laptop, then that's fine too. The software you need is on every computer on the Northwest campus too, so you're welcome to use any computer there. And then, of course, I have the percentages for the different things we're going to be doing. The tests. If you're in person, I'll give you in-person tests. If you're online, I have decided to alter a little bit this semester because I've had a lot of cheating going on in my previous online classes. So instead of, you know, some tests that you would kind of take home, we're going to have two tests, one midterm, one final exam, instead of like some smaller individual tests. So that'll probably be the setup if you're online. If you're in person, you'll take the test with me, obviously in class. Assignments generally giving on Monday, and they're due Sunday night, although that varies depending on the semester and the mode. If you're online, generally that's how it works. If it's a summer class, well, you'll probably be doing 2 weeks worth of work every week, so some of that may be a little different depending. And then, of course, we have the final exam. It is a requirement. If you don't take the final, you fail the whole class for any Northwest class. Uh, Also, it is in person. You can't just kind of do it whenever you want at home. So just keep that in mind. Assignments will have at least one assignment every week. There might be two, depends. You'll definitely have one programming assignment. There might be a little assignment, a discussion board or book thing where you have to copy some stuff down to. But generally, at least one programming assignment every week. And the way the programming assignments work, we usually start off with a couple of small ones, and then we work to slightly bigger ones. And then generally, you'd have a test after you made it that far. So, but again, I'll keep you informed of how that works, when the semester starts. And if you have any questions, you're free to ask me. Now I mentioned this before, but like depending on the mode, in person, I usually give 2 or 3 tests, and those are in person. Uh, if you're online, kind of the same thing. You'll have one midterm during midterms or just before, and you'll have one final exam. Both are going to be in person, and you have to physically take them. Uh, so just keep that in mind. Uh, All right. Now, as far as required study time and all that stuff goes, generally speaking, the more you put into programming, the more you get out of it. If you just watch the video and you don't do anything, you're probably going to have a hard time. The point of all the lecture videos and stuff that come with this, which are going to be under modules, is I will show you how to build something, make a program. You need to open up your IDE, your idle, and write that program along with me. And then save it. That way you have all of them saved. And again, preferably on a flash drive or something you can carry around with you. Particularly when you take the exams, you'll need that especially. Simply because, well, I let you look at some of those programs for like the final projects on the tests and stuff like that. You can look at your programs, and if you don't have them, you won't be able to. So you always want to keep them all nice and kind of collected in one area. When you're doing a programming assignment, you'll want to refer back to the programs that you've already written. Go through, okay, it's similar to this, copy that over, make a few adjustments and changes. That's generally how the programming works. If all you do is kind of watch the video and kind of halfway pay attention, you're going to have some trouble in this course. You have to physically take the time and write all the projects out. Again, I give you a bunch of lectures where I'm building programs. You should be building those along with me. And then play with it a little bit, make some tweaks. If you have some questions, ask me. If you're not completely sure, go to Google and type in the same topic. You'll find literally 100 other people doing the same thing. They might explain it in a way that you understand a little better. It never hurts to, take a little extra time and play around with it or see how someone else kind of explains it. Now, that's effectively it. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Just send me a message, drop by my office, or talk to me after class if you happen to be in person. All right?